for sacred spaces, and I help you in any kind of real estate assistance you may need so you can get a hold of me. Tonight we have a Scorpio moon, and this is one of those wrap up sessions that we're having tonight. And when I say wrap up sessions, I mean we are at the last day in August, and I just want to say hello to everybody coming into the chat room. It's the last day of August, and here we are. The summer is coming to an end. We are going to be, wrapping it up, looking back. What did we do this summer? Was it fun? Did you have a good time? Did you take a vacation? I'm talking about the Northern Hemisphere, of course, because the Southern Hemisphere is just wrapping up their winter. So we have tonight a lot of highlights that are coming into September. I'm going to be talking about that astrology wise. I'm also going to be talking about the art of intimacy. And what does that have to do with anything? Why do we need it? Do we want it? Um, do you even know what it is? How it intertwines with the physical act of exchanging bodily energies. And we're going to talk about sex. We're going to have a very light talk about how the spirituality and also how the body itself is made up of so many layers and how you must align them all to really have the best experience that God has intended you to. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that too, the joy of intimacy. I'm going to recommend a book while I'm thinking about it because a lot of people don't really know about intimacy. They don't really, we're not taught this in school. We're not taught how to have relationships. We're not taught how to express ourselves creatively. When you have relationships and you're going through grade schools or high schools or college, you're out there having these, wonderful contacts and sometimes these great friendships can last throughout your whole entire life. So sometimes we have no idea that there's so many different types of intimacies that go into our daily lives. And this is one particular book. It's by Manis Friedman and Ricardo Adler, and they are Jewish rabbis. It's the joy of intimacy. You never thought that, Jewish rabbis would have all of the goods on intimacy, but they do. And there's a wonderful avenue that we're going to travel down as well. So hello everyone, how's it going for you? How was August? We had this wonderful kind of laid back August, but things are about to shake, rattle, and roll. Tomorrow is the first day of September, and we've got this beautiful Mars aspect. It's sextile in Jupiter, and even though Jupiter is in retrograde, we've got this wonderful push, this wonderful opening. The curtains are drawn, and there on stage is the month of September. I have to tell you, it looks really good. We've got some milestones happening. And if you are setting off or promoting or doing something and you're thinking, gee, should I really do it this month of September? We're in this shadow period of Mercury retrograde. I'm going to say you couldn't pick a better day than to highlight whatever it is you would like to put on display or gravitate wonderful energy to. Because in this particular combination, we have got, and I always call Jupiter the Santa Claus planet of the universe, because whatever action you take with Mars, because Mars is the action planet, you are so going to get a gift card from Jupiter. I mean, you are going to see it in dollar signs. If you push anything forward on the 1st of September, it's going to pay off. It's going to pay off big. So I'm just saying, yes, yes, yes. Hi, Bill. Hi, Phil. How's everybody coming into the chat room? I just want to say that September cannot, be kicked off in a much better spot than what we've got happening. So I love it. I think it's going to be a wonderful weekend that we are coming up in the United States. We have Labor Day weekend. And, it's really funny because my mom would always tell me that I was born on Labor Day. And so it's always been kind of a fun weekend for me. I always have a birthday celebration, or as the astrologers call it, once around the sun, we have a solar return. And I really enjoy, just kind of realigning, recharting what my next year is going to look like. And that's what I do for everyone. So if you are about to have a birthday, or you would like to give a birthday gift of perhaps a year ahead of a reading and the transits, and also your progress chart, you can go to Kimla Lowe, Lowe.com, sign up for my sessions. For astrology, I have a whole hour or a half an hour just for your updates, whatever you'd like. And I always have gift cards available too, so that you can have a session and you can just give the gift of peace of mind with a medium session, or also a little bit of predictions and a little bit of help on your timeline for the next year. So it's always a great gift to present someone as well. So we're looking at this particular weekend, and we have got something that I really want to talk to you about, because Venus, the planet of love, and thank you, happy birthday, thank you so much. The planet of love and higher money, actually. We've got Venus that's going to roll into the sign of Virgo. The party is in Virgo right now. And we've got the sun's in Virgo, and we're kind of partying with we're partying with the perfectionists of the zodiac. And with this, it's really, I want to say, the gift of the harvest. We are now starting to bring the harvest together, and it goes in steps. It goes kind of like in an accelerated manner. So Venus is now going into Virgo, making them shine, making them, the it sign of the zodiac. And along with Venus being in Virgo, Virgos love to give service. They love to edit. They're fabulous editors. They really want to make their surroundings a little bit better, a little bit more usable, a little bit more organized. And if they are commenting on something that perhaps is a little bit misaligned, it's just because they know that once the energy is aligned, you are going to be flowing much better. And you'll find this in just like cleaning, editing, organizing. They're fabulous teachers, by the way, as well. They have teacher energy. They have compassion, yet they've got the organization skills to present any type of subject in a manner that you will really get the best out of. I love teaching my astrology classes and feng shui classes. I love doing seminars and really just improving one house at a time, aligning one student at a time, and giving them all the information that I've acquired throughout so many years that I've been doing this work, and really learning from the masters to be able to present it to everyone. So I want to say, this is Virgo time. Put your party hats on, Virgos. It is really fun. And this is going to be a fun weekend ahead for Labor Day. Um, when Venus goes into Virgo, a lot of times we look back at our relationships and we're thinking, what, you know, can I reflect on a lot of my relationships, whether they're friendships or whether they're romantic relationships? There a lot of stuff that I did or they did or whatever happened, wasn't really perfect. It wasn't something that perhaps wasn't as balanced as it should be. But I have to honestly say, perfection is never reached. It's only in the achieving, it's only in the journey to make life as good as you possibly can. That is the fun, and that's the joy of it. We never fully reach perfection. So, a lot of Virgos get very anxiety ridden, or they feel as though they're not doing enough, or they didn't do it right, or they have people telling them, you really should go easy on yourself. Well, when you're a Virgo, you feel you are not fulfilled unless you've done it correctly, or you've got the belief system that perhaps you didn't put enough attention into the matter. But I assure you that when we have this Virgo tendencies to want everything just right, the shadow planet of Pisces is straight across the zodiac, and that is the other half of us is Pisces. And Pisces, they just love to go with the flow. So Pisces, our shadow work, when we do our inner work, teaches us that it's okay to go with the flow. It's okay to just kind of let it go. And it's okay to trust in a higher process. And, I always like to say, God gave us many, many talents. And one of the talents is to be able to organize and edit an idea, a project, a relationship, so that we can present it clearly for everyone else to understand it. When Venus goes into Virgo, it is just push time for Virgos to make more money, honey, because Venus rules higher money. Exactly. So if you've been holding back thinking, no, I don't really want to go for a job because, this is coming up or that had to happen, or, again, is it ever the perfect time? Yes. I'm going to tell you that if you're not feeling it, it doesn't matter. Get out there. And if you've got to have a procedure done, if you've got to, go on a trip, or you've got, something coming up as far as transportation issues you need to get clarified, whatever it is, this is the time to go and push this first top of the week, because we're going to be getting into a Mercury retrograde. And I have to tell you about this Mercury retrograde coming up, and that is going to be on Friday, September 9th. Mercury is going to be going into retrograde at Libra. Yes, Libra is all about relationships at 9 degrees. Now, when you talk about these degrees, what does that mean? You've got, actually, it goes from 0 to 29 degrees and 59 minutes. So during that time, if you say Libra at 9 degrees, it's a very early Libra. It's the ones who are the Libras at the very, very beginning of the sign. So when Mercury goes retrograde in Libra, we are going to kind of reconsider how we've presented ourselves. Are we being as charming as we possibly can? Are we presenting ourselves as fashionable as we possibly can? Are our surroundings balanced and in harmony? Are we using the right color palettes? We might be just concocting, wow, you know what? I really didn't like that summer stuff that I had out. I really want to get into fall. I can feel this big push to get autumn in quickly. I mean, and with panache. People are, oh yeah, I'm ready for fall. I'm ready for the fall colors. I'm ready to start redecorating, and I'm ready for this to begin. Well, when Mercury turns retrograde, on that particular day, it stands still. And when it does, then it travels backwards. And it's this retrograde is going to be in this particular backward motion until October 2nd, when it backs up into Virgo again. And relationships are going to be key. I've got to rethink this relationship thing. I've got to rethink this money thing. I've got to rethink, am I being the best partner I can be? Am I being the best supportive person I can be for myself to present myself properly? These are the kinds of topics that we're just going to be battling on a day-to-day basis. And it's not the end of the world. It's not a huge challenge before us. But during this particular time, especially September 9th, we may lose something. We may find something that's been lost. We may we may find that something breaks, something we've been relying on and just taking for granted. The cars are one, right? The washing machine or dryer is another one. Just little things in life. Your hair dryer might just go, and you're like, oh my gosh, I've had this hair dryer forever, and now I've got to replace it during a Mercury retrograde. This is not the time when Mercury goes retrograde to really sign major contracts, and to really kind of, get the job of your dreams. Because what happens and this is kind of something I want to warn everybody about, is if you sign something, it's not going to turn out the way that you had expected it to. If you are going back to work with a company, with a friend, with a coworker, with someone that you've worked with before in your past, it's going to be fabulous. It's all about the past when Mercury goes retrograde. You can run into people from the past. You can go back to places from the past. You can go, back to restaurants of the past. This is something you'll have somebody email you or call you, and you're going to go, oh, wow, I haven't heard from you in ages. You're also going to have romantic partners getting a hold of you, especially with it's basically to tie up some loose ends. Okay, they have a message to give you that you've been waiting for. And a lot of times when you, let's just say, get a phone call from someone from your past, and you're just like, wow, this is great, let's meet, let's start over again, there seems to be, oh, wow, a change of heart. And you're not going to want to, go on with this relationship. You're going to go, oh, wow, what was I thinking? There was a reason why that relationship was in the past. Don't make any huge decisions while Mercury is in retrograde. Do your research. Great time to take classes. Wonderful time to give seminars. Perfect time to learn, research, and also to go back to the past and pick up some little golden nuggets along the way that perhaps you missed. Get the messages. Also make some new contacts. But this isn't the time to really obviously go forward with something brand new. However, when I say that, and you run into someone and they've got a great contact for you, make sure that you check it out. You can always say, I can start after, October 2nd or the shadow period of October 16th. That would be fine. But this is the kind of thing where you have to do everything twice. If you've scheduled something and it's happening, during this retrograde period, there's a really good chance that it's going to be either rescheduled or there's going to be some kind of a shift that's going to be happening. I also want to say that because Mercury is in Libra, this is not really a great time to, let's just say, uh, alter anything that you're doing. Not a great time to have a facelift or to redo, your hair color or your makeup. You're going to really feel like this is the time to redo your image, but it usually doesn't stick. It's usually just kind of an itch so that you can see where you're going. It's a great time to learn feng shui. Libra is all about balance, harmony. It's all about learning shading, color wise. It's learning about how to use different lighting, layering and lighting. It's a wonderful time to learn about how chi meanders and whispers through your home. Libra's an air sign. It's a great time to air out a lot of the things that you've been holding on to, maybe in your air conditioning all summer long or whatever whatever that is. And it's a really great thing, by the way, if you've been tossing and turning and you haven't been sleeping through the night, take your pillows and put them outside in the sun. Yeah, we used to hang them on laundry lines and things like that. But if you can have your pillows absorb yang energy of the sun, because while you're sleeping, you have yin energy and it balances out so you have harmony while you rest. If there's too much yin energy, you are going to have the sweats, you're going to have a lot of drip, postnasal drip, you're going to have a lot of mold, mildew around if it's too yin. When you're sleeping at night, we do want it to be calm. We want it to be serene, but charge up your pillows. I know that's a feng shui tip so that you can have wonderful bacteria-free and energized in the morning when you wake up. You're going to see a difference. So that's a little tip there. Hello, everybody coming into the chat room. I see Michelle's there. Mary's there. Hi, everybody. Let's see. Louie. Oh, my God. Hey, Louie. Haven't seen you in a long time. Hey, Julie. Hey, Katie. Hey, Kelly. Hey, Kelly. How are you, everybody? We also have that polar opposite for Virgo, since it's the parties with Virgo. I was just talking about that inner work, that shadow work that we need to do. And Virgos are always wanting to do the best they possibly can do. The shadow side of Virgo, of course, is Pisces, like I said before, which is a water sign. Pisces are lovely to go with the flow, but Pisces love to daydream. They love to get out of the body and through either drugs or alcohol. This is what they tend to have, to overdo on. Let's put it that way. If you're not using your creativity, if you're not using your God-given talents, this is escapism. This is a lot of things that people try to fill up that gap, fill up that unhappiness that that uneasiness that you are not fulfilling the mission in life. And this is something that Virgos can do as well, just so you know that. And Pisces, when they get on a roll, because Pisces shadow is Virgo, they can get very picky about what they want to eat and who they want to hang out with. They get moody. They can be on that perfectionist mode as well, if you know any Pisces or Pisces rising or Pisces moon. So just so you know, any sign, and this is general across the board, if you're not using your God-given talents, and some of us have a deep dish of talents that we have been given, that we've acquired, that we are skilled in, if we are not using them, we are not going to be able to be attuned or aligned in the absolute way God intended. We're going to feel unhappy. We're going to feel like any zip code we go into, it's not going to feel right. Any person we meet is not going to be the one. Any friend we meet, we're going to be paranoid about it. What do you want from me? Or are you going to stab me in the back? You're going to gossip about me, when I leave the room. When you are immersed in your passion, when you're using your gifts, whether it's management, whether it's organization, whether it is working with children, whether it is medicine, whether it is writing, whether it's music, art, dance, whatever it is, you need to be doing it. I'm not saying doing it as a full time, replacing your big money with it. I'm talking about getting that soul to realign with the gifts you were given. Then you will be able to experience the joy, the passion of life. And when you do that, it just generates out like huge. You are going to have an aura that's filled with magnetic energy that brings joy back to you. And it also permeates everybody else around you. And you're going to be this wonderful, joyous person. Life's going to be good again, you know? And, you can imagine if you were given the gift of cooking or providing food, and you're never able to cook or do that. That's going to be all stored up inside of you. And when anger or blocked creativity gets stored up in the body, what happens is it turns into two things. One is anger, and that when that anger goes inward, it's depression. Yeah. So you get depressed. So the best thing is, just like, when you're a parent, you want to have the best for your children. You want them to be as creative as possible. If they're good at sports, you want to be there encouraging them to do so. That's one of their gifts. They're very joyous when they've done that. If you have someone who's a little painter, and you want to give them anything they need in order to be able to produce and to share their gifts with the world. That's the same with yourself. Take time out during this Mercury retrograde. Take time out and just highlight your gifts, highlight your natural love of life, your passion, and make sure that if you haven't been doing it now, go back to the past, right? Mercury retrograde sends you back to the past so that you can see, oh, you know what? When I was younger, I loved to dance. I loved it. Well, then go back, take a dance class, or just put the headphones on and dance. Dance while you're cooking, dance when you've got the vacuum in your hand, but make your connection with your gifts. It's really very, very important, especially for Virgos and Pisces, because on September 10th, we've got this beautiful full moon in Pisces. And that would be, let me get the degree, that's 18 degrees. And we have got the planet of Uranus, which has been really marking all of our charts in the last, I want to say, 5 years. Uranus is the planet of rebellion, but creativity also. It's also a very independent planet. It's lining up really harmonious with this Pisces full moon. And it's just going to, it's really all of the surprises, all of the shocks, all of the new switcherooskies that we are going to be seeing are going to be good. They're going to be for our best and highest good. So we've got to look forward to that. If someone gives you an opportunity to kind of switch your path a little bit, or someone brings to you a really great deal you want to check out, it's going to be an opportunity. I may suggest that you've got an attorney there to really read the fine print, especially when Mercury's in retrograde. But this is going to highlight, the good side of shocks and surprises. And then we've got a week coming up after the 10th. We've really got a week that we're going to be researching inward. We're going to be hearing all about bits and pieces, whether it's globally or just our country, governments, even in your little town square. Maybe the kids are going back to school and they're redoing a lot of the laws, and a lot of new inventions or new ways of protection. We need to be putting these pieces together. We need to support one another, because these particular times of Mercury retrograde is also a time of going and cementing in loopholes that have been gaping for a while. So anything that we want to put into place is going to be infiltrated or commenced during or after October 2nd, is really going to stick. It's not going to be a drive-by thing you're going to be doing. It's something that you really need in your life to make your future better. We're going to hear about so many new technologies. This next year coming up in 2023 is going to blow you away. We're going to be using them very quickly. They're going to get them rolled out and they're going to get them into the public hands very quickly. Watch. We are going to have so many technical things. I also have to talk about Mars right now is in the sign of Gemini, and it's going to be in the sign of Gemini until 2023. And I have to tell you, Gemini rules communications. These phones might be a thing of the past real quickly. You may come up with something else. You may be the first one on your block to have it. You may have other things coming in. There communications, transportation, cars may be rolling out with totally new inventions on them. We also may be hearing about a new type of vehicle that's going to bridge the way to air travel. So we may be seeing that, and they're going to be rolling that out so we can really take advantage of that as well. So that is really going to be unbelievably cool. As long as we don't lose our temper and we, count to 10, Mars kind of pushes the bubble a little bit, makes us a little risky, and we're using the words that perhaps we fly out right out of our mouths. We want to, have healthy conversations. We want to have healthy boundaries. And that's what we're going to be talking about next. I want to really kind of draw in the next really big item in astrology that's going to be happening, and it's September. On September 22nd, the sun is going to enter into Libra. So the Virgos, party now, because by the 22nd, it's going to be all about Libra, and we're going to have the autumn equinox. The sun is going to conjunct Mercury. Mercury's still going to be in retrograde, and that is going to be at 0 degrees. That's a very, very hot point in astrology, 0 degrees. So look for new ways that you are going to want to use to communicate, whether it is maybe a new channel that's opening on social media, or perhaps you yourself have found something or another topic or another show or a new way to bring in your communication levels to a higher frequency. This is what it's going to be about. So I'm excited about that. The autumn equinox is going to be something that I think is going to be really gracefully brought in. We've been pushing on that now, but when it really happens, it's going to start in and it's going to be extremely graceful because fall in all of its colors and all of its glory, especially for the Northern Hemisphere, gives you this fabulous show. And I want to say that everyone's going to be talking about it. So if you haven't booked your fall foliage tour yet, make sure you save a weekend for that. That's really kind of coming up. We've got some rocking and rolling to do in October and November. So make sure that you give yourself a beautiful foundation of anything that you want to go back to the past, maybe learn from, or like I said, there could be loose ends, there could be gaping holes in something you totally missed. You might want to take a class, you might want to learn how to make your timeline coming up for this particular transitional season that we call autumn. I want to help you do that. If you want to, you can just book a session for upgrades, or for just updates as well. You can just use it a 30-minute session at kimlalowe.com, or you can use the 1 hour session and we can really get some great work done. And I'll throw in some personal feng shui for you too. And that would be the 60-minute astrology session as well. When we were talking earlier about Venus, the planet of higher money and love, going into Virgo, we're talking about Virgos, are very, and they're known to being extremely particular in their relationships. And they're very loyal, but they're very particular. They like things done one way. They like things to be organized. And if you have a lot of Virgo in your chart, you may have your Mars in Virgo. You may have your own Venus in Virgo. And during this particular time, you may have a great review on your relationships, especially your romantic relationships. So I want to get into that a little bit because so many people think to themselves, well, you know what? When we first met, things were amazing. It was hot. We were just like crazy in love. And now, we're in this relationship for many, many years, and it's nothing. It looks nothing like it did when we were kids or when we first got together, or however that is. And I want to talk to you what really goes into healthy, long-standing relationships. And the word is intimacy. And a lot of people don't really know about intimacy. They think, oh, when you're intimate, it leads to a physical union, sex. And I want to tell you that there's so many different types of intimacy that we use in everyday interactions with people. The first time intimacy came into your life is when you were a baby. When you were a child, you were very bonded and very intimate with your mother, especially if you were breastfeeding, right? But the hugs, the cuddles, the touch, you were conditioned for that. We all need intimacy. We all need touch. We all need to know that standing by our own, we need to know that there is another person there with us. And, we were made that way. God made us that way. The male, okay, the male is the yang. The male is full of action. The male is the one that fulfills, okay? The woman is yin. The yin energy of a woman is to receive. And if the male is not directed into a healthy direction, okay, He's going to be, hit and miss, hit and miss, hit and miss, and wondering why can't he sustain relationships. If the woman, if the woman has a blockage about receiving, and Virgos a lot of times have blockages about receiving. They want to be a little bit more yang than they possibly should, because their makeup is to serve. They want to make sure everybody's happy. Am I doing enough for you and you and you and you? And then all of a sudden they suffer from burnout, that they've been, making sure everybody else is happy, and then they can't possibly receive. And this is something that, having my master's in metaphysical counseling is something that I really look at in a chart, that, there are no blockages. There isn't a, let's just say, generational blockage of women receiving in a healthy way. And when a man, gets together with a woman, um, and the sparks start flying, in other words, they want that, what we call tai chi. It's the yin and the yang come together in tai chi, which is absolute union. And this is what we all strive for, is the balances of elements, especially in feng shui, but also in movement, and in defense and offense, and you can get this in a lot of karate and things like that. But what we want to achieve is tai chi. Now, when we're talking about intimacy, these are the, I want to say, the skills that you're never taught this in school. But these are the skills that you can learn, or you can nurture, in order to get that Tai Chi. So I want to talk to you about it. It's more of a, some people say, oh, there's 10 types, there's 12 types of intimacy, 7, 5, whatever it is. I'm going to go through a couple of them, because intimacy, you can have the romantic intimacy, but you can also have non-romantic intimacy as well. And those are those very healthy connections. They're long lasting. This is where you develop trust between each other. And Scorpios have a very hard time. If you're any Scorpios in the building over here, they have a hard time with trust. It's just something that they do. They've got to research everybody. And we give them this gift of not trusting, so that they can reach the depths of understanding on a soul level. They're very deep when it comes to developing their relationships. They don't just want somebody to, give them the fluff and the glitter. They really want, they want to have their socks knocked off into the middle of next week, or, into the next lifetime. So, really, this trust that you're building through intimacy helps you when you want to have the loyalty that's contained within you returned. And it's something that needs to be trusted. Now, this intimacy, there's emotional intimacy, there's mental or intellectual intimacy, of course, spiritual, there's physical, absolutely, there's creative. And there's also, when you have like a friendship, you're intimate on a friendship level as well. Let's talk a little bit about emotional. So many people, and this has come up through my counseling, where they're saying, nothing's happened between us, but, wild horses can't drag me away. And, we're entwined with other relationships, but yet emotionally you have spent time building a trust between you, sharing secrets that you don't tell, perhaps, your significant other, or perhaps something that you share, you let down your guard. And some of your fears you share, some of the most happiest moments you've shared. These are the stepping stones. This emotional intimacy can lead to physical intimacy, of course. But when you have one person who, you have to have healthy boundaries, and you have to know that you are entangled in emotional intimacy with someone. And this can happen very easily, very quickly. You see someone who's friendly, and right away, there's something about that connection that you drop your guard. And pretty soon, they're telling you, about this and that and very intimate things. And you're just like, wow, I have no idea why. Why they're telling me this. My daughter owns a boutique, and she's always saying that, they come in to purchase dresses, or boutique items, and pretty soon they're just opening up on all these intimate things that have happened in their lives. And pretty soon they've made this connection, and there's a customer for life. And one person has to listen, one person has to use compassion for the other person, and perhaps they're not getting that compassion in their day-to-day relationship, because perhaps, how it is. Two people in a marriage, they're running here, they're running there, they're trying to get to the job, they're taking care of the children. They don't have time anymore to revisit that heart to heart, those soul talks that you used to have. And perhaps the other person, they're so used to hearing, your background and your stories, they're not enamored anymore. And so a stranger or a new friend is, and they're just thinking, you are, wow, you've got all these talents, and you've done all these things, wow, you are to be revered, and you revered, and all this stuff. And for the first time, you're like, wow, that's right. That makes my heart jump. That makes me feel good that somebody sees me in the way that my companion used to see me. And that's something that happens over time. So emotional, that's really the words, the communication, the letting down of your vulnerability, and really the sharing of things that you don't normally share with just the public. The mental intimacy is your ideas, your thoughts, your plans, um, and also your views on life. You can have an intellectual intimacy with someone that perhaps you're on the same thought level with them. I can talk to them for hours and hours and hours. They're on the same page I'm on. That can lead to physical intimacy, but that is something, again, healthy boundaries. When we know about these different types of intimacy, we know how to direct them, we know how to share them in a very healthy manner. And we also know, what to expect from each other. We know what our healthy boundaries are. And it does. It's so nice to have a little mental gymnastics, perhaps with another person who's interested in the same views you are, or the same beliefs that you are, or that you have found to be transformable in your lifetime. Now, the spiritual intimacy, these are also your values, your core concepts, your core belief patterns, the spiritual energy that you share with another person can be all encompassing. It can, and on this particular level of intimacy, it can share all of the above. You can have physical, you can have mental, you can have emotional. If you add that spiritual component uh, to a relationship, you know, it's almost like the icing on the cake, especially when you have people who are sensitives or empaths, or they have psychic abilities, or they're spiritual warriors in themselves. You really have that thing that you share about philosophies, and that spiritual intimacy also has boundaries. And just to know that, oh, I have this great spiritual relationship with this person. We have this, and it's called intimacy. We've shared these spiritual beliefs, and I tell them what's happened, in my spiritual community and my experiences. They've shared with me. Perhaps they couldn't share with anybody else. And this happens a lot of times, whether you have a tribe or a group, or in your metaphysical worlds, a lot of times you all share this spiritual intimacy. Talking about physical intimacy, I mean, that's when you're talking about sharing, you're sharing your touch, you're cuddling, you're romantic. You're making eye contact in the soul itself. Your heart races. Your heart can tell, whether there's a connection there or not, whether you are going to be, as a man, whether you are going to be safe enough to make advances, and women, whether you are going to feel safe enough to be receptive. And it's one of those things in like your energetic pattern. Let's take the female energetic pattern, because even if you have had your tubes tied, had a hysterectomy, the womb itself sings a song. That is your chakra. That is your sacral chakra. It's sacred. It's the holies of the holy. It literally sings. And even if it has been removed, the imprint in your energetic makeup is still there. It is still there. It is still singing a song to attract and to be fulfilled. And this is something that when women, they don't know why they're unhappy. They don't know why they're off balance. They do not know why. And they are describing their ache to be fulfilled. And so with the man himself, as they age, their hormones also, are not in balance. They also, the drive, but their imprint is still there to advance, to be the nurturer, to be the supporter, to be the one to fulfill the female's needs. And, you can do it in a lot of different ways as well. And that can, fall over into taking care of someone, whether it's, monetarily or literally taking care of their health, but providing the fulfillment of their needs. And that could spill over into all of the other ones for emotional intimacy as well. When you're talking about experiential and creative intimacy, this is when you share your time or your interests with friends, with friendship. Let's say, you buddy up, you go to the gym together, you work out together. Let's just say you play tennis together, or you swim together, or, these kinds of things are the friendships and kind of the buddy system that you do activities with on a day to day. You go to have, you go to get your hair cut together, or have your nails done, or you go shopping together, lunch together, men watch football together, or whatever that is. That is that particular intimacy that you have. Also, creative intimacy, when you sit down, a band that's making music, you get into the synergy of this creative intimacy that you really can't do or don't have with other people. It's the same thing. I mean, you have healthy boundaries, of course, but when you share any degree of these particular variations of intimacy, it can always lead to the union of Tai Chi. But know that to have that Tai Chi as an everlasting goal in life, you really need to respect, have compassion, and also know that there are all these other types of intimacy that go into the whole of Tai Chi. So you have a complete union as God intended, and as your energy is intended. And when we look at all of these different kinds of intimacy, right away you can say, oh yeah, I do share that with that person, or I do have that with that other person, or perhaps I'm lacking, as well. So as we're going through this Mercury retrograde in Libra rules partnerships, balance, and harmony. And we're also having Venus in Virgo, when we may be a little bit particular in, the kinds of connections that we allow. I want you to go through your energetic makeup in a meditation, or perhaps when you are just sitting by yourself or reflecting in the past, and find within your energetic field if there are blockages. Women, are you open to receive? Are you open to receive intimacy with the universe, so that you can allow downloads to come through and receive? Men, are you connected? Are you aligned with the universe itself to be able to handle the force, the action that you will be fulfilled when you take that next step, that next action in your life? These are the kinds of things that we never talk about, right? uh, but it is so helpful to go through, to identify any blockages, ask the universe to dissolve them for you, invite the angels in to highlight that, and to go to work on aligning and balancing out your chakras, your particular aura, and your energetic field. I know everybody. Wow, let's see. Everybody is in the chat room. Let's see. Janine, hi there. Joanne, hi. Everybody's in there. Oh, thank you so much for coming into this one. This one was really one of my favorites. I just wanted to have an intimate conversation with you, and we are going to have more guests. Yes, I've got a great roster full for the season of autumn, but I really wanted to kind of have a little moment with you. And if you missed the beginning, go ahead and go back. I want to say that sometimes, we don't use that word intimate because we think it means physical. But now we can go through and say, hey, it's okay. It's okay to share different things on many different levels, as long as you have healthy boundaries when you do use that. You know what? We are the captain of our own ships, and we can invite anyone on board that we would like, as long as we know in our hearts that we can trust them to be responsible with the gifts that we're sharing with them. And, there's always a couple of pirates in the channel of life, trying to struggle to get on board our ships. But now that, what? We know we've got healthy boundaries around our hearts, around our souls, and we do have free will and free choice in planet Earth, but you must remember that comes with consequences as well. They never seem to include that whatever they talk about, free will and free choice here on planet Earth. I want to just choose a card as we're talking. And the card that I chose was to let go. Let go, be the best that you can be intimate in many different ways, and be the best part of how God made you. Use your gifts and spread joy anywhere you can. Until next time, may the angels protect you and guide you. Thanks, everybody, for coming along with me this hour. Make sure that you like, you subscribe, and you hit the bell, notify when I'm back on the air. Thanks, everyone. Good night.